Hello, my name is James Hintz, DSP Scholar Class of 2026, and today I want to tell you a little bit about game theory. Now, game theory as defined by Britannica in 2021 is this mess, this branch of applied mathematics devised to analyze certain situations in which there's interplay between parties that may have similar, opposed, or mixed views. It's way too broad, there's nothing getting done here, so let's just get rid of it. I want to tell you a little bit more about maybe a specific part of game theory, that being the Nash equilibrium. Now, something synonymous with the Nash equilibrium is the prisoner's dilemma. Say Tom and Jerry go to Chick-fil-A, they steal a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, and they're both thrown into holding cells. They're given two options. They can either talk, rat on the other person, or they can stay silent. If both stay silent, they both go to jail for a year. If both talk and rat on each other, they both go to jail for a decade. If, say, Jerry talks and Tom doesn't talk, Jerry goes away scot-free and Tom goes to jail for half a decade. Now you would think, hey, they'll just, agree, they'll both, shut up and not do anything, but actually this is not what happens. In most instances in real life, they both rat on each other and both go to jail for a decade. So with this in mind, I was like, where else could the Nash equilibrium be applied? Because it seemed so useful here. It was like, this is not really applicable to us, but it's got to be useful somewhere else. And a place where I saw it was useful was such as business, such as Nintendo. So Nintendo, when they were first coming up as a company, they had two options. They could either take a major stake in the industry and kind of bottleneck it, or they could feed into developers and grow the industry itself, so that way they could have a larger industry to take a part of. They chose the second option, and it paid dividends down the road for them as they're a major, major company in today's world. Another maybe more explosive example here is the Cold War, or as I like to call it, to nuke or not to nuke. Now, given this phrasing, it's kind of obvious. You can either nuke the other person and they will blow you up accordingly, or you can both just sit there and not do anything. Now, in the actual Cold War, they both didn't do anything because we're all here listening to this presentation. But I was like, this is the past. There's got to be something maybe more applicable to us as a culture, as a people, maybe even to me in today's modern world. And the place where I found this was in natural disasters, specifically the 2021 freeze that we had. Now, what really interested me here was, say, the Nash equilibrium of ERCOT, or what they were able to do. They had maybe two options here. They could regulate, and they could winterize, or they could do neither. They did neither. It would have cost them $5 billion to winterize. It cost $195 to $300 billion in damages when the freeze hit. One of the costliest natural disasters in the history of the United States, all for profit. Now, I was like, this can't be the only time that government messes up and doesn't manage time, money, assets, and resources effectively. And I was wrong as I looked into Hurricane Katrina and the levee system, and how engineers literally went bad levee, good levee, bad levee, good levee, all the way down, and expected it not to fail. It would have cost them $765 million to build a proper levee system. Hurricane Katrina ravaged New Orleans in that section, and it ended up displacing hundreds of thousands of individuals, and it ended up costing a total of $202 billion in damages. Now, overall, with this, I was like, the Nash equilibrium takes the facts of the situation. It takes what you can do, and it shows you what will happen. And this is where I'd like to go with my future research, because game theory, the Nash equilibrium, shows us and tells us the unbiased truth, the facts of the situation. Think back to the prisoner's dilemma. Tom and Jerry, it doesn't tell us if Tom and Jerry are mortal enemies or friends, or whether they're trying to make a quick buck. It just tells us if they talk, this happens. If they don't, this happens. And so my idea would be that given future research, I would like to take Nash equilibrium and even more advanced game theory topics and maybe use something such as AI and implement it to provide an unbiased opinion to government and officials or NGOs in crisis scenarios so they can provide the best care to the most amount of people. Now, I'd like to thank you for listening to my presentation, and that's just a theory, a game theory. Thank you all so much for listening.